Well, hey there, idiots. Welcome back to Observe, and welcome to yet another video in which I nitpick and complain about some random film through the lens of nonverbal communication. Let's go ahead and roll the intro. So occasionally in life, there will come a movie that has brilliant acting, amazing action, rich dialogue, beautiful music, and the list can go on. And unfortunately, today we are not looking at one of those videos. Today, we are going to be reacting to and analyzing some of the clips from the 2010, the beloved by all fans and non-fans alike, the Avatar, the Last Airbender movie. Not the one from Netflix, not the animated show, the movie, you know, the one, the best one. I enjoyed the original animated series, and I cannot say the same for this. And today, we both go down this rabbit hole of pain together. So let's go.
You are my prisoner, Airbender. I'm taking you back to the Fire Nation.
You said
I apologize. I should have explained further. If you failed the test, as all others did, you were free to leave. But as it turns out, you are the only one in the entire world who could pass this test. It is true.
All right. Right off the bat already, we're gonna see a lot of nonverbal difficulties in this film. There's gonna be an immense amount of stilted just behavior in general. There will also be a lot of desynchronization points where you know what they're trying to convey, but they're not doing it well. And already in this little interaction that we have here, just so you know, this is Aang. The pronunciation is Aang. If you've seen this movie, it's Ong. And then this is supposed to be Uncle Iroh, or I think they call him Iroh or something like that in the movie. Again, very fun choice. And then that's also supposed to be Prince Zuko. Sans scar on his face the way that it's supposed to be. When Zuko says to Aang, "You're my captive," blah, 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 and then Aang responds, he starts to respond, and then he stops talking before Iroh is able to interrupt him. So you said that and Aang is already done talking. That's not how interruptions work. If a person, especially a person in a passionate position, which Aang would be in here, he just found out that he might be held captive. He's not going to so quickly trail off on his sentence. There would have been, you said that I can blah, 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 and that's where the Iroh would have come in and started interrupting there, and maybe even would have had to been like, hey, kind of thing, to reel back in that emotion. And so when this boils around to the emotional root of things, it's just letting us know that Aang, if this was a real situation, he's not feeling that emotion genuinely because it hasn't carried through anywhere. It so quickly fell away. And so while we're watching it as the audience, we just know that's bad acting. It's not done well. You're not feeling the emotional state because he's not feeling the emotional state. And you could tell he's not feeling the emotional state because of how he's behaving with said emotional state. This is just one small aspect of it. There are so many scenes throughout this movie that are so hard to watch. And we have a few of them here today, including the one at the very end of this video, which is like one of the ones that everybody loves to hate on. And you'll see why when we get there.
It is truly an honor to be in your presence.
Don't even try to escape. This is a warship!
That sequence, he took like 5 to 7 seconds to get through all of that stuff. And during that entire time, these two veteran, seasoned warriors, Iroh more so, Zuko's, you know, if you've seen the movie, you've seen the movie. If you've seen the show, you understand. But these two warriors just stand there as this child does an extremely slow flip over the top of them and then does a whole martial arts routine to gently slide backwards through a door. At any point, the solution was this: grab. Done. Whole scene over with. If he's jumping over, grab. Still, again, done, but they just stand there the whole time. And it makes me question, like, did they actually want to keep him captive? Because if we're going off of what their body language just said, they didn't care at all. But that will come up again on repeat in this movie. You'll see.
Don't move! You have nowhere to run!
Thanks for bringing Opera to me. The Fire Nation is up to something. I have to go back now.
We'll come with you.
I could take you back to the village.
We're going with you.
You found the Avatar.
For a moment, I had my honor back.
Okay, so all of the action. I know that this is obvious. This is a kid's movie, and you're an adult, and you're picking on it. And honestly, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. And if you don't enjoy it, I'm so sorry. Anyway, this whole sequence here, he goes and he uses the wind and pushes the guys against the wall all sorts of viciously like, and then slowly walks out onto the deck. And all that I'm wondering during that time is, where were Zuko and Iroh? They were legitimately right behind him, and he only shut one door when he did his whole and slid backwards through the door there. Their solution was just to open the door again and continue forward. They should have been directly behind him, but I don't know, for the sake of making this the worst paced movie in the world, they're not. They're somewhere else in the ship, and he slowly gets to walk around, and then they come out there, the firebenders, the ones that, just to remind you of their powers, can throw fire. They bend fire, so fire can leave fiery areas and go in directions really fast and burn things as fire does. So my question is why does Zuko slowly run out there and he's like, oh, don't leave him, and Aang can do his whole, I'm gonna do a little spin and flip out my glider and then just sit there posing with my glider for a while next to this pit of fire. My question is, why did not a single one of the firebenders throw fire there? Or when he was turning around, throw fire then when he's not looking. It's just, there's so many solutions that they could have had there, but instead we get to sit and watch this incredibly slow action sequence play out here. Then he goes up there and he lands on one of the worst CGI'd appas you've ever seen in your life and delivers lines like he had just seen it on a teleprompter. The Fire Nation is, oh my good God, was there an acting coach? It doesn't improve. So we do have some more to be able to go through, and I just, you know what? I think we'll do that. Okay, so during that little action sequence there, not only one, horribly paced, they do try to make up for the terrible pacing of it with some camera shakings and movings and things like that. But if you pay attention to what the two are doing to each other during that, it does not seem as though either of them know what they're doing. There are some kicks and some punches in there, but then there's portions where Aang jumps up onto some barrels and there's a wall next to him, but he's like facing the barrel. I don't know where he's planning on going after jumping up there. And then the part that makes me laugh every time I watch it is at some point, Zuko is like baby carrying Aang. Just like, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Where is he going with that? What was his goal with that? Why is he carrying Aang in the room to begin with? Like, what was his plan with that? I think it's supposed to be playing off of like older kung fu movie styles where you could see a little bit of that almost like goofy, obviously not based in real physics movements. Instead, we got whatever kind of atrocity that was with hopes of us, I don't know, being on the edge of our seat for that. I mean, the only edge of my seat that I was finding was hopefully being able to find a way out of it to leave the movie behind. Unfortunately, there's quite a bit more left to go through this video, so you and I are both gonna dive back into the torment.
Calm down. You'll find it.
I don't know who she's talking to at that point. She says that very softly, and maybe there's some contextual stuff around it that makes more clarity to that. Maybe she was talking to the people in front of her, but they were like a good, almost like 20 feet in front of her, so I doubt it's to them. Was she talking to herself? And if that's the case, why is she saying that out loud in that tone? You would expect to hear maybe like some ragged breathing in there or something along those lines that would indicate panic and stress and anxiety around finding Aang. Instead of calm down. We will find him. Anyway.
Are you okay? Did the spirits tell you anything?
Yes. The dragon spirit talked to me. I know what to do.
We have to go.
The dialogue delivery. This is one of those areas where I've talked about in the other movies that have done poorly with the dialogue delivery is the spacing of the words. When people talk, it's not a spaced out evenly system. Usually. Some people do. Oftentimes, though, there are halts. There are portions where you speed up more, and then there's portions where you slow down more, have to think more, things like that. It's an ebb and flow experience throughout which you can find a general resting baseline for their tempo and pace for if you're looking for spikes. It would be very difficult to believe that somebody would talk the way that they all just interacted there. Not only is the pacing weird, the vocal inflections are wrong. They're flat and they're very lifeless. But then even watching when Katara comes in to talk to Aang, she walks in, mechanically, robotically turns, and she's looking at the ice for a second. She had all sorts of time to watch that, and also, even on that note, the slow response time of people in this movie is insane. Zuko had so many seconds to do so many things while he watched water slowly creep towards him. Back onto Katara, she walks in, robotically looks at the pile of ice that she just made, that she had all sorts of time to look at already, and then we have to hurry. It's the worst delivery of a line right after what was supposed to be an intense action sequence, which it wasn't. That motif characterizes the movie, and it really has a pinnacle at a point in the movie that we'll get to at the end of this video.
You won't be killed by waterbenders if you stay hidden here. We could be friends, you know.
They're getting stronger. This is a scroll from the Great Library. This is our map. Our world is going to change soon, gentlemen.
So what'd you think of that Appa face? Was that fun? Was that fun for you to see? It was fun for me to see. I didn't know that he was actually an oversized lemur. I thought that he was a air bison. The talent in this movie was 100% limited by the writing and the directing of the movie. There's only so much you could do with the turd. You can polish it as much as you like and do as much as you like around it, but it will still forever always be a turd, and that's what this movie is a turd. Yeah, anyway, here's another scene with even more beautiful acting.
I always knew you returned.
Me too.
I always knew you'd return. That would be a little bit of a red flag in another area. One, using always and nevers and things like that. That's rarely the case. But then also seeing the little head shake in there. She's saying, I knew you would return. And the little desynchronization point. Maybe it's supposed to be based off of the you wouldn't believe. And that's what she's really trying to push into there. I don't know. To me, it just feels like bad acting. Also, again, we're still down to the same pacing. I always knew you'd return. It's all the same speed. It's all the same pacing. It's all the same tone. There's no emotion behind it. There's no natural flow to it. And it shows very clearly that this is just a horribly made movie.
Me too.
Fire Lord's son. You took him from our village.
Besides this extremely slow pacing of it, this is an area where I was like, okay, so at least the movements that the talent are doing kind of match the elemental bending that they're supposed to be doing at the time as well. What you will see in a number of other areas, including here in just a second, are martial artsy moves that do not coincide with the movement of the elements. That's the whole thing. If you've watched the animated series itself, as they do specific moves, you can see the elements immediately reflect that move. That is not the case in this movie, as you will see in multiple points where they'll do 800 different moves, and then, and only then, and after those movements have stopped, does like the element kind of start to move, and not even necessarily in the direction that they were moving. Here, just watch how Zuko moves, and watch where the fire comes from and goes and things like that. Yeah.
Who are you?
My name is Katara, and I'm the only waterbender left in the Southern Water Tribe.
See that? Cross over here, and then fire from way over there starts to circle around, and then he does a strike over this way, and it's like, oh, well, come over from... It does not make sense. Again, it feels as if the people that made this film maybe didn't watch the original piece too much to understand, like, what's the motivation behind these. Those were just fine martial arts movements. They could have done even a little bit of effort to try to make the elements match it. It's atrocious to watch, and the awful pacing of this film completely removes you from it. Not only the acting, that's its own thing. The action, that's its own thing. Just the general pacing of the film is atrocious. If you really did appreciate the original animated series, which I happen to really appreciate that, this is sacrilegiously horrible to watch. But there's more to go through.
I'm not allowed to go home without him.
Is that supposed to be intimidating? I don't. That was one of the least intimidating displays that you could find. It just, like... It is bad.
If waterbenders get power from the moon, they will get stronger as the day comes to an end.
A decently well-delivered line. There was still a little bit of that stiltedness, but you heard the flow to it, which again, that lets us feel like the character's genuinely speaking those lines, and it's not something that is either teleprompted or that they've very clearly memorized, or that they're maybe, I don't know. A lot of the times it sounds as if the people are just reading the lines for the first time, maybe even. This movie is another one of those ones where it sounds like it's a table read, and that's because their tonality is incorrect, their cadence is incorrect, and it rubs everybody who watches it the wrong way, and those are kind of why. That it's a desynchronized point of their nonverbal communication. It's removed from reality and from a natural flow of things. Oh.
General Ero, I've been keeping a secret.
And what is that?
In my raid of the Great Library earlier this year, I found a scroll that tells the location of the ocean and moon spirits.
To meet a spirit would be a great honor.
Well, I hope I can give you that honor.
Also, in case you didn't notice, this compilation is a little out of like timeline order. It's not sequential as the movie goes on. I gotta be honest, I don't think that even if I had put all of these in exact order as they happened in the movie, I don't think you would have felt any more in the loop as to what is actually going on in this movie. But just wanted to call note to that because I'm sure that somebody watching this is going to be like, it was out of order. Correct. Yes, it was. The thing at the very end is not the actual end of the movie. It's just the end of this video because I wanted to hold on to that atrocity till the very end, and we're almost there.
What happened? What happened?
Probably fell asleep from boredom. She's not portraying an emotional state here. I think she's supposed to be either portraying shock, confusion, anxiety, stress, something along those lines, but it is fully desynchronized across her face. She's just kind of sitting there with an extremely blank expression. We're left then being like, okay, so how can we relate to this? How can we feel an empathized emotional response to that? And you can't because there's not one being given. A lot of these are kids, so hopefully, optimistically, as they have continued forward with their acting careers, they will have improved at least a little bit from this point. But at this point, it also just, there are more talented actors and actresses in this age range that they could have found that also would have even remotely fit what the people of the actual animated series looked like. This movie did almost nothing correctly. When I watched it the first time, when it actually came out, I watched it in theaters in 3D, having never seen the movie or the shows before. I left not only one, thinking that it was an awful movie, even in 3D, it was awful. And then two, it gave me a headache. I left with a headache. I had walked in there without a headache and I left with a blaring headache. And I think that that's probably just a general experience for watchers of this film.
Zuko's here in the city. He took Hong again.
We're now to my favorite scene of the whole movie. We get to hear Aang say that he's Ong. We'll see some beautiful action sequences and some impressively dynamic bending capabilities. Just, yeah, you prepare. Ooh.
He's dead. If he was here, he would protect us.
My name is Ong. And I'm the Avatar. I ran away, but I'm back now. It's time for you to stop doing this!
The Avatar would have to be an airbender. Are you an airbender, boy?
Leave him alone!
How is he doing that?
I don't want to hurt anyone.
Oh my God. The only thing worse than the pacing is the acting. The slowness of which everything is happening. Those soldiers had to watch Katara slowly waltz up to them from like a good 50 feet away and just do absolutely nothing the whole time until she pushed them. And the line delivery is so stilted. Every single word that comes out of Aang's mouth is so stilted. None of it sounds nestled within the emotion of the scene, or if it does sound like it's trying to be nestled into the emotion of the scene, something is desynchronized non-verbally with him. As he's trying to push an intense emotion into his voice, his face stays relatively inactive. Or you will see the opposite. He's trying to do something with his face, but his voice isn't reflecting that. And then the rest of his nonverbal communication, again, is so slowly stilted out that you can tell that this had to be paced out in some sort of way. Not natural, it's not believable, and it removes you from feeling the film. Don't worry, the intense best action is about to happen here.
All airbenders should be dead. Kill them! Firebenders! Let's attack! Okay? Everybody can help us now!
Did you see how many movements he did before the fire was like, oh, are you talking to me? He like does 18 different movements and then he's like, yeah, and then the fire's like, all right, I guess it's my turn to go, and slowly creeps by him. That's pretty egregious. I don't think that a Fire Nation would be very threatening if that's the speed at which they could attack. But fortunately for the Fire Nation, the Earthbenders, it's gonna be a tighter competition than you think it might be.
Don't be afraid!
Don't be afraid! Thank you, animatronic Katara. I appreciate the delivery of your lines. Flawless. So what'd you think of that? What'd you think of that really powerful move by the Earthbenders there? It took, what was that, like 8 guys doing a little stompy form thing to get one rock this big to slowly float through the air next to them. And then another guy has to do another form on the side of that to maybe get it to speed up just a hair. If you watched the Firebenders and thought they were bad, you just had to wait until this and find out like, oh, those guys are speedy. What could have been a very intense and powerful action sequence. If you watch the original animated series, this sequence has so much more weight and energy to it. Whereas this, it's just, oh my God. Wow. Everybody attacks one at a time in an egregious manner in this movie. Like, that's pretty common. If there's any fight sequence, if you watch movies a fair bit and you see a fight sequence where there's a group of people fighting one or a fewer group of people, and you can just see the people in the background just kind of wiggling around, waiting for their turn to attack the person. In this movie, it's dialed up so much further. As you're watching it, you're like, this is supposed to be the action sequence. These are supposed to be the parts where you're like, ooh, I'm on the edge of my seat. It's impossible to watch this movie and enjoy it for anything. By the time you end up getting to the end of the movie, you have a headache. You have full-blown, probably a migraine, could even escalate from there to something far more serious. You might have like stomach ulcers by the time you're done watching this movie. I guess that's what we do here on occasion on Observe, is watch really terrible movies and talk about why they're really terrible in the lens of nonverbal communication. I hope you did enjoy this movie or this video as much as you can. If you do have any other requests or questions about different series or things like that, let me know in the comments of the video. I try to get through there and see those as much as I can. These videos that I do on movies like this, they oftentimes are claimed. So the last few ones that I've uploaded have been demonetized by the studios. So if you would like to be able to support me in making some more of these styles of videos possible in the future and make it to where I can still get paid, please consider either becoming a member or going over to my Patreon. Either of those are really good options and I appreciate that. I will try to eventually get some like specific content to those platforms as a thank you for that support, but right now I'm staying pretty busy with where I'm at. But without further ado, that's all that I've got for the day. My name is Logan and you have been oh so awesome as you always are, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.